earlier on in this series. Wouldn't be shocked if he goes for that. That's the next best pairing we usually see next towards that Ashe, if the Seraphine split does come across. Wow. LGD though, wow, okay, so just kind of a rogue Jace pickup here, but what I assume to be came in a strong lane that Burdol wants.
I mean, it's technically a flex, and it's not anymore, because here comes the Skarner. You know, I begged them to take the Skarner. They wanted Burdol on something aggressive. Well, you know, we got the two things that we were looking for. I just worry about value at that point. Jarvan, Lee Sin, Xin, Vi. I mean, oh my goodness, like, there are things available. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it is really scary to leave so many things up. The Qiyana as a carry threat. It really doesn't matter what you can go for, and you're giving Ashe Seraphine over. This is a very, very scary start to the draft for LGD. They are going for full comfort and basically getting rid of meta. You can talk about that as a plus or a minus, but they're certainly going to give it their best shot.
I do like this. It seems like Tien was deliberating a lot of his arsenal here, so they're just going to lock the Seraphine now and give themselves more time for discussion. Wow. Excuse me, Tien, you didn't need much more time for discussion. He immediately slams the Olaf, daring LGD to pick the very thing we wanted more of them to use. CC setup, and now they're going to have to stare down an Olaf that says, nah, to all that.
I think the scary thing here is that you're playing into Ashe, Seraphine, Olaf, and you can't pick your bot lane. Like one part of your bot lane bare minimum has to go into second phase. That is terrifying because you need safety on the bottom side of the map with these options available. Ziggs is going to be the lock-in presumably for Shaoye here. Theoretically, this could get flexed to Tangyuan. If anybody is going to be able to pick it up, it could be Tangyuan. In fact, he already has a game on Ziggs this split, so maybe this is just a mid lane, you know, priority pick and you're leaving your bot lane for later. Either way, it's a bit of a flex, but right now, Top Esports, once again, are just getting so much early power, so much priority on the map. I think LGD, like I said, are getting comfort, but it becomes very, very scary to see exactly what they might round this out with, since they need both damage and safety on the bottom side.
They do at least have the identity of the range of the poke comp, right? So we're going to have Ziggs throwing bombs everywhere. We're going to have enhanced shock blast coming through. And I do kind of respect the digs of Skarner Impale into Mega Inferno Bomb, right? It's kind of like holding up like the meat on a skewer to get burned alive with the middle of that Inferno Bomb. It's still kind of a hard combo to consistently get off, but I see the vision nonetheless. Lots of jungle bans coming out from LGD in the second phase. Interesting to see that. I wonder, I guess maybe was I wrong in thinking that this could be an Olaf jungle potentially, or?
I think it's very flexible. Neither Tien or Zhuan have played it this split. You're getting rid of the crazy psycho supports. Honestly, I would have encouraged LGD to take those in this particular matchup. I think the Elise already showcased that the crazier the game goes, the better. But this Olaf definitely can still be flex top lane. This could very much be an answer to Jace. We've seen this in the LCK throughout a lot of the beginning part of this year as an answer into the Jace. It's going to be the Yorick actually locked in.
So Ziggs bot, Jace mid.
Ziggs bot, Jace mid, Yorick top, Skarner jungle. So we're waiting for that support pick to come in, but certainly this does make things a little bit more interesting. It's going to be Xiaoye's first game of Ziggs. A lot of power in the mid lane. You're lacking a lot of teamfight damage. I mean, that is the #1 concern here for LGD, and especially if this is going to be an Aurora lock-in to play into something like Jace early, yeah, you're going to lose a lot of the poke battle, but if that Aurora finds any of the members on the backline, that could be really scary.
All right. I respect, again, the idea here for LGD. They have been bodied in team fights, so they have drafted a comp that tries to avoid every team fight avenue possible in traditional sense. They're going to try and outpoke before a team fight, or they're going to try and, you know, have a Yorick on the other side of the map, and make it really hard for TES to 5v5 team fight. But that is, again, a harder style of comp to execute, and with a Xin Zhao Ashe Seraphine combo, I mean, this has just been a beautiful draft here for Top Esports.
They're hovering Draven. I mean, that would be insane.
Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. There's no world this gets locked in.
I mean, this has to be a support, right? Okay, let me calculate this in my head.
Go ahead, man. I've got nothing.
Is this Ziggs?
Skarner support.
Is it Skarner support? Are we playing Skarner support in Game 3? Is YCX pulling out Jace jungle? Okay, well, that's certainly a bit of a different calculation, I think, from what I looked at. This is a lot of cooking for LGD. It's certainly something where they are in the kitchen, they are throwing it out. Clearly, they are attempting to see if this works. Ziggs Skarner feels like a matchup that's going to get massacred into Ashe Seraphine. And if I'm looking at a draft that I don't want to play into Olaf, it's Yorick, Jace, Skarner support. what do you do to Olaf this game? Like, Zwayon might just be actually unstoppable.
Kman, the only other time I felt this speechless looking at the end of a draft was when I watched Moham lock in Rammus support for OMG. That was the last time this happened. All right, I'm not even going to look at the goal.gg. This is the first YCX Skarner support game of his career, in case anyone's curious. What the hell?
Yeah. I'll do some digging in the game to see when the last Skarner support game we got is. I'm curious if it was before or after the rework, because I think that there might actually be a conversation about that. But, I mean, this is insane. I do think that there is an avenue in this game for LGD to get some advantages. It's not going to be easy. It's gonna take a lot of time. There is a theoretical world where they outscale. We highlighted the solo laners. Yorick is gonna be a menace inside lanes, and this Akali can still get fed. You have pieces here that make sense. It's just gonna take a lot to get them comfortable.
LGD have lost their minds with the Game 3 draft. Let's see if it gets top esports too crazy to match. Yeah, that awesome little art of JiaQi love we just saw there on camera, that's probably him blushing at getting to see this draft he gets to play into. That's in my mind, the reaction we're looking at. All right, we're live onto the draft here, Kman, and you now get the impossible task of trying to decipher and communicate, I would say to the viewers, but mostly to me, man, how the hell this early game goes.
It's actually pretty clear to me how this early game goes. I think TES are going to have perma lane priority against this comp of LGD that don't really have a lot of ways to fight back, especially bot lane. I mean, Skarner offers absolutely nothing. In this 2v2, Ziggs is drafted to be as weak side as possible. Expect the Skarner to play very similarly to how you would play an Elise or a Pyke, in that it's basically just going to sack the laning phase and move around the map, try to create some action with some of the engaged tools that he has. If YCX can make those plays happen, that's going to be big. You know, Aurora is naturally a decent matchup into Akali, and of course, Olaf is really going to be strong early into Yorick, so a lot of that early tempo should go in favor of top esports.
That's right where they want to be, right in the wheelhouse of TES, a team that has been at times on par with DLG with how they translate early game leads into victories. So we'll see if that is exactly what goes down. Early indications is yes. Zwayon getting a huge push here into Burdol. The bottom lane already aggressive with the Ashe Seraphine. That means Tien gets to, you know, the jungle is his oyster, right? His world. He gets to go wherever he wants. He will be spotted looking for this invade, so Heng gonna recognize, hey, I'm in a vertical jungle scenario.
But this is a vertical jungle where Xin Zhao gets to play against something like a Yorick with an Olaf on the top side, and the Jace has to watch his Skarner die.
Oh my god. The only mistake there is JiaQi Love flashes already after getting the first blood with lethal tempo. JiaQi Love, top esports. First blood once again. Beat drops from Fengyue, keep on a-coming. And this bottom lane is already in tatters for LGD.
Look, we got to do a little bit of a search in that time. There have been 8 support Skarner games this year. One of them in the LCK, played by Kellen of BNK Fear X. You have players like Vista and Elio as well in the LCP showing some presence for it. But generally, this is a pick that needs to get out of laning phase. It's no surprise that Ashe Seraphine are going to be able to dominate it, giving over that first blood to a player in JiaQi Love that we know can step up and absolutely take over in these games is ginormous for their ability to find success. And once again, as expected, like this Aurora does really well into Akali as well. It's not just bot lane that's generating advantages. This Jace is going to be begging and praying for one of these lanes to start pushing.
But for now, he might find himself in a skirmish with a level advantage. Xin Zhao. YCX has already left the lane here. He's looking towards Creme. Bit of a 3-stack coming down here as Creme does have to be careful. Enhanced Shock Blast is going to go wide. He's going to have to flash over the Ixtal's impact.
Oh
my god. Burdol on the wrong side of the lane here. Flash doesn't matter. Zwayon has himself the solo kill. TES off and running in Game 3.
Again, I also want to make this point abundantly clear. They drafted the Olaf as a counter to Jace, and then you pick the Yorick, knowing it's Olaf top lane because you ban out all of these junglers. Yorick gets destroyed by Olaf in this matchup. I just don't understand. Zwayon's going to have such a free time being able to take advantage of this. Not only is he going to win early, he's going to be able to stop any split push potential from this Yorick in the late game because he can force fights anywhere on the map. This is really well played from Zwayon, but Burdol being this pushed up with no jungle intervention is just a massive mistake. I don't really understand what the idea is here. Zweon's had a fantastic series, and he gets an aggressive champion. The flash is completely unnecessary from Burdol, gives over the kill, and Olaf and Ashe are now both in positions where they can dominate the rest of this early game.
Zweon doesn't even burn his flash there. You know, I will say for YCX on the support look here, he has burned multiple top esports flashes. That's Fengyue that had to use the last one, as Heng does show up. Nice enhanced shock blast will land, but flashless JiaQi Love is still yet to be really punished there. Heng, more time wasted, where he could be clearing camps. Finding very little with his gank. CN will come down here as well. They're looking for Fengyue to hit a pretty big beat drop. He will whiff as JiaQi Love does go onto a blinking health bar. No kills to be found, though, as we have a 3v3 Blossom on the bot side.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to underestimate the damage of Ziggs when you're chasing him down. The ability to kite from that champion is immense, and nobody knows that better than Shaoye does. LGD, of course, facing a pretty strong Ziggs themselves in the play-ins, but it's going to be a little bit of a trade in the mid lane. Ult burn here from Creme. Tangyuan as well will utilize it. I mean, look at the CS difference in the mid lane. Creme is absolutely decimating this matchup. Another, pick in Akali that you drafted, I believe, into the Aurora. Like, knowing what you were going to play in another matchup that I think is very difficult to play out.
We've not hit 6 minutes yet. Top esports are up about 2,000 gold. Tien is going to knock down the Chemtech Drake, the first Drake of the game, to already get the ball rolling on those dragons. Top esports have gotten a hold of all but one dragon that was stolen on a Shaoye auto in Game 2. Outside of that, Tien has been the Dragon Master in this series. Is pretty low after his engage with that Drake, so he's not going to be able to get the Scuttle Crab, but small losses. Top esports are firing on all cylinders on another early game in this series.
I mean, 1.5k gold up at 6 minutes is pretty darn good, but doing it especially on these champions is really important. Once Tien hits level 6, their combat power against this comp that kind of needs their range, it's going to be very, very dangerous. Dragon, of course, as you said, going over to top esports, but it's significantly before grub spawn, which means that Tien finally gets to do the thing that I think he's addicted to the most in League of Legends, which is pressure every objective before 10 minutes. There is no one who does it quite like Tien. It's been his entire career where he's basically said, if I can get Dragon and Herald, then I'm going to try and do that. Now he gets grubs to do it as well, and JiaQi Love probably going to be fine absorbing some of that pressure on the top side if it means that the Xin Zhao can fight even more in the river.
Ashe is another champion that fits in that wheelbarrow of, all right, it's fine if you weak side me. It should be relatively safe, especially once you get access to the Ashe arrow. He's over to level 6, so could use that defensively if YCX tries to make a flash play onto him to find an Xtal's impact stun, anything like that. So I don't hate leaving JiaQi Love to his own devices on the bot side, because Fengyue recognizes that he's going to have to kind of match YCX's map pressure. You called it. The Skarner support wants to just kind of act like a perma-ganking Skarner jungle. So I expect to see both supports very much so out of the bottom lane. YCX, though, is spending a whole lot of time just staring at Creme. Oh boy, topside Ragnarok is popped. Flash over over the play placed down from Burdol, and he's going to find himself the solo kill. The turret will trade it back out, but Zweon has established his dominance on the top side nonetheless.
I cannot stress how bad trading 1-for-1 is for Yorick. Like, that is really not a trade that you even want to try and make. The more gold on Olaf, the worse it gets. And I talked about this a bit before, but look, Tien has hit level 6. You have a poke comp with Jace and with Ziggs. He can neutralize all of that by pressing R. LGD do have the inside track here, and Shaoye has made his way up to the top side to get some plates here, but if they want to go for a fight, it's going to be very dangerous to do so.
Hung on to the grubs. Tien actually going to, let him take those away. So it is going to be the grubs trade here for the Dragon. I talked about how in the last time we saw this, that it was not like a significant win. The 3 grubs are big, but it was a team fight-oriented game state. We'll give credit to LGD. Even if this draft feels really weird, Kman, this is the team you want 3 grubs on.
Yeah, I mean, it's exactly what you want, and Zweon's the target now with no ult.
Good sidestep. Ragnarok, though, yeah, it means that he is cannon fodder for the Ziggs. Oh, Fengyue! The flash heal, he sidesteps the Inferno Bomb. Zweon's still up, another Q from Jason's dodge. Zweon is dancing on LGD, and here comes Creme with the 2-fold Hex, gets the first kill. The weirding gonna force YCX to flash right over the wall, but Creme will hop right out after him. Another blast cone's the only way YCX escapes. Fancy footwork from Zweon.
What a beautiful play, Slayer. That's gorgeous. I mean, what an outplay. Fengyue and Zhueyan, the rookies that we highlighted, the players that we said needed to step up for top esports. What do? They completely outplay LGD on a gank topside. Zhueyan with the happy feet. The flash heal from Fengyue completely saves his life here as well. We're gonna get a replay of this. This looks completely doomed. First off, YCX just misses the engage. If you're gonna play starter support, you better hit the engage. Zhueyan looks like he is dead in the water, but Heng flashes out in fear of his own life. Who is here but a knight in shining armor named Fengyue? The Zigzult gets thrown down, happy feet there, Shock Blast comes through, dodges another one, and Tangyuan now has to ult out as well.
Yep. Again, 3 Talon Strike threat is enough to get Tangyuan to use that Akali ult defensively. So top esports now about to crest over towards their big 1-item power spikes and right in tune with a Cloud Drake that will spawn in about 40 seconds. YCX desperately trying to set up vision, but there's Fengyue to cancel all of that out. Top laner's not going to have TP here, so they're going to be left to their own devices just the way Zhueyan wants it to be. He's looking to chase down Burdol once again. Okay, you do have the Maiden doing some nice work. There's the Ragnarok use, but they hit Shock Blast. Heng was waiting in the wings. And Zhueyan will finally fall. Heng and Burdol needed to get their get back from that top lane dive.
Yeah, you really had to make that play work. Heng has to be careful here, though. You can't walk into a Xin Zhao. This Yorick is really low. TN wants to look for this play. There's obviously no TP on the Olaf, so he is alone up here by himself. Still, very, very well played by Heng. Burdol does a great job to bait his enemy top laner into another exchange, knowing he wants to try and fight these 1v1s. And again, it's just a little bit more gold over. I guess you cut the lead down to 500 gold in favor of the Olaf as long as you get this crash in. But still, top esports feeling pretty comfortable with the game state. Dragon's still on the map to be taken by either team.
Yeah, both junglers paying a visit towards topside is really going to slow down that pattern. Heng is hanging out here. Wow, this feels personal. He's actually going to commit to this play. All right, Zhueyan does not have Ragnarok. No, doesn't have Flash. And Heng is here again. Dark Procession going to trap Zhueyan, and he will drop again. That one felt a little mean there from Heng, but hey, kill's a kill.
It certainly is, and if you're going to get gold somewhere, it better be on the Jace. And really important to do that. YCX interrupted.
Beautiful encore. No Ishtal's impact for you, Mr. YCX. Just a 2-fold hex and an auto on top. And Creme grabs the kill. These rookies for top esports have come to play in the playoffs.
Zhueyan sitting there going, if I must die so that my team may flourish, I will do so. Fengyue continuing to be an absolute superstar. Burdol is going to get this top tower. That's a lot of gold going in favor of the Yorick. Ziggs is up here just to make sure that nobody gets full turret gold, but is still going to be able to take it down regardless. It's going to be Dragon going over to TES. It's going to be Infernal Soul this game. We saw this in game number 1. The amount of scaling potential with Infernal Soul is dangerous. The snowball ability with Aurora, with Olaf, and Infernal Soul is terrifying. You can shut down Zhueyan all you want. If this guy starts to get free extra stats, a lot of these ganks aren't going to matter going into the late game.
Credit to LGD, though. It was nearly a 2K gold lead not too long ago. They have cut it down by 2/3 of that, with top esports trading out again for the scaling threat, right, at this point. So we got the Dragon stacking. We'll see if TS can try and knock down some of these structures to start getting gold into their favor. It's not going to be bot side. JiaQi going to be pushed off of the bot lane turret, but Creme was one weirding away from finding the solo kill. Oh, Tangyuan goes for the shuriken flip, but TN, wind becomes lightning. And down goes the LGD mid laner.
They're just styling on him, Slayer. They're just trying to make the flashiest plays they can possibly make.
What was that arrow?
That was a little bit delayed. A little bit of a lack of reactionary skills there on JiaQi. I'm sure he'll be fine a little bit later on. Zhueyan still has a ton of pressure on the top side. When Heng isn't babysitting this Yorick, it's impossible to stop this Olaf, and that Heng might be in danger.
Oh, yeah. Good knockback, though, on the hammer stance. So the 3-town strike Nakamura not coming.
TP
Instead
coming
lands
in.
on a YCX.
TP.
Inferno bomb doesn't land. The impale doesn't either. TN pops the progressive guard. He wants Heng. He knows he's mincemeat, but he's dragging down his partner jungler with him. Oh, my God. The healing from Tien. He forces YCX to flash away from him. Tangyuan will finally pick up the kill, but that was a lot used just to slow Tien down.
I mean, it's a 1-for-1 in the end, which you might not think is too bad. Then you realize both teleports were burned. Flash was burned on Heng. Flash was burned on YCX. ult was burned on YCX, and JiaQi Love got bot lane tower. That's like a plus like 600 gold play for top esports to make. It's actually absurd how much they get out of that. And TN, I think, is going to be pretty happy with the trade. This is the problem with LGD's comp. They have to invest so much into making these counter plays. They're doing a good job of staying clumped up as a group, but they need to make sure that they're at objectives first right now. This is a 5-level disadvantage for YCX.
Oh, man. Ishtal's impact, very reliable ability, or he would have gotten battered there by Swayon, who has, again, been the target of LGD's game plan early, but he is just soaking it and recognizing how much his team wins with LGD pouring everything to go after him. Which next stop shop there should likely be this Rift Herald. Tian going to clear up towards it. Feels like a guarantee here for top esports. Still, I want to say not a spot that we feel like LGD can fight, but again, this draft, it's supposed to really pop at this point, except for the Ziggs.
Yeah, I worry that you kind of just need to wait this out at this point. Like, yes, the Jace obviously wants to be a little bit more aggressive, and even the Akali Skarner, like, these are champions that want to be more aggro, but you kind of need items at this point to be able to make those plays work. It's going to be much more difficult if you go for plays down in gold and try and force things. You wanted some of those early game leads, you didn't really get them. Now the question is, do you have the patience to get yourself to a point in the game where you can be a little bit more aggressive in these side lanes? Again, Yorick will get online eventually, and at least be able to cause some havoc. I don't expect they want to try and contest a lot of these neutral objectives too much, and if they do, they better make it work.
They try and walk their way in behind their Skarner support. Ishtal's impact, Impale need to provide a ton of value. There's a nice shock blast coming down there from Heng. Fengyue chunked out. Tangyuan looking for a flank, but Creme has him marked. LGD do force top esports off the Herald now, and it's CS that are now going to have to try and force their way back in towards this pit. Or, as you see in your picture-in-picture, TES are going for the more immediate gold EV play, which is way on smacking on a tier 2 turret.
I mean, this is a gold neutral play. You're taking Herald to try and get some plates for some major carries of yours, and now you're just getting plates onto Olaf in exchange for it. This is perfectly fine for top esports. It's certainly good for LGD to be able to pick that up. I think this is, again, a part of the game where they're trying to get anything on the map, and as long as that Herald is used correctly, you can actually get some nice priority around these dragons if it's utilized in the mid lane when these objectives spawn in around 30 seconds, but you need to make sure you utilize that Herald properly. If you're not going to be able to match the gold that you generated from pushing for that play, then obviously it doesn't really end up being worth it, and you certainly don't want to let Olaf scale out of control here.
Scary, scary prospect. We've already seen Swayon show up in those big, impactful team fights in all of our games. Think to how he's able to survive the pickoff attempt on his life on Rumble in Game 1 that really ended that game. Think about the quadra kill he had on the Zahen, nearly a penta, despite going down 0-3 in Game 2. Stepped up in that big team fight. So we know that Swayon is built for those big team fight moments, but LGD, great use of that Herald and that satchel charge. They're able to knock down the mid-tier 1 turn and get a lot of value out of the Herald take they got earlier.
Yeah, TP coming down into the bot side. LGD have the inside track, but TES are looking.
Oh, Shroud protecting Tangyuan for now. He just goes after Fengyue. Encore's going to go wide. Crestguard has to come up here. Fengyue going to have to flash out of the Mega Inferno Bomb. Shock Blast lands onto Creme's head. Engage ults down. Low HP support. LGD have a shot here to stop the Dragon stacking.
That's huge. The Crescent Guard is also utilized in that fight to get Fengyue out, and I can't stress enough that is the most important tool in top esports arsenal when you're talking about a poke comp with Jace and Ziggs that has plenty of different ways to get in. That ultimate from Xin Zhao can actually just instantly win a fight when you burn it early. It basically seeds all pressure over to the area. That's a huge pickup for LGD to stop the stacking. How much more can they get off this? Because again, this team does have some scaling within them. I thought the early game was going to be nearly impossible, and they are down in gold, but it's certainly not nearly as much as it could be. They have an avenue back into this game.
They've got the damage to try and catch back up, but Heng is getting caught out. He flashes as the 3-talent strike knockup lands. And Tien just walks him down. Big catch to find there, and the response for LGD on the bot side. Looking to go after Swayon again, but YCX and Burdol do not have enough damage to even think about this dive. So there's no response there from LGD. Arrow does go wide from JiaQi Love. Shaoye able to stave off that dive attempt.
I mean, they're able to keep their AP carry alive for now. It is more utilizing tools for top esports to get very little, but it is still a 1K gold lead. It's not quite as big as I thought it was going to be at this point in the game, though, Slayer. I really thought this was going to start to snowball out of control once we got that kill on the top side, once we saw the dominance that came in the bot lane 2v2. It feels like there have been a couple of pretty big mistakes from top esports that have allowed LGD to get back in this game. Now, Heng's macro and, you know, his overextensions in this series have consistently been a problem for LGD. He's going to need to clean up on that because this Jace is the entirety of the gold right now, and the combat power with that Serpent's Fang completed. He has to be in the right spot at the right time, and that's where I'm going to keep my eyes on LGD. They found an avenue, maybe for the first time all series into a game. We'll see what they can utilize it for.
Hopefully to utilize it to settle into this sort of 4-1 split, this side lane supremacy. Trying to get Burdol comfortable playing with this Yorick, using the 3 grubs, and hey, doing stuff like this. Knocking down the structures the top esports can't really cover for. LGD are going to try and spread TES thin and poke them down, and maybe just pick them out. Istal's impact will land on a Fengyue. He has no flash. He doesn't even get the encore off before he drops, but there's Tien again. Heng goes down on the trade. Tien still has access to that crescent guard. He's able to use Burdol to dash out and take the 1-for-1 trade.
It is a 1-for-1, which is obviously pretty good for both sides. You know, the gold doesn't really shift all that much, but those 1-for-1s are really not bad for LGDs. These kinds of picks that are actually pretty good to be able to pick up here. Again, the Olaf is a massive issue in this game, and I really do think he's going to be a problem to deal with in these team fights. But outside of that, Tien has a lot of gold, but theoretically shouldn't be able to take over. The Crescent Guard's going to be annoying. He's the one kind of getting accelerated. If you can keep this bot lane out of the game, you're not in that bad of a position. Fengyue, for the second time this game, has really been heavily overextended. Heng going to be the target because he's the entire gold lead, and yes, it's more gold onto Tien. But again, I really don't hate the idea of just going, okay, we'll trade 1-for-1, try to get some priority onto, you know, anybody else besides Heng on our team right now, and see if we can set up for more fights later.
And hey, Tien did have to expend the flash to get that kill on the Heng, so you don't expend a flash of your own. That does, you know, take away some of the bite of the Xin Zhao.
For sure. I think it's also really important to note, like, while it was support for jungle, you can't really do anything off of that. Like killing the jungler makes a lot of difference if there's an objective to immediately take off of that, which there wasn't. And so even if you want to take positional priority into account, it really just goes down to who is getting the kills. And overall on that, I definitely think LGD feel better about the trade.
So right now, top esports is trying to match structure damage pressure, right? They want to open up more of the map of their own. It's no tier 1 turret standing right now for top esports. They've been slamming on the mid-tier 1. Top tier 1 has been relatively healthy thanks to the fact that that's obviously Burdol's area of expertise on this side of the map. I think that's also what's kind of hankering the top esports playmaking, but at the end of the day, with Baron up, with another Infernal Drake coming up as well, the power of a comp just surrounded by Seraphine charging forward is the scariest prospect. So while, you know, LGD have done a pretty good job slowing down the game, opening up their style, it's time for them to try and have to answer for some of these big 5v5s or risk giving up soul point at this juncture.
Oh yeah, we're seeing some engages. It's against Weon, looking
Ragnarok.
on Burdol.
Yep, he's out of the dark procession, and there's nowhere for Burdol to go. He's going to have to try and fight his way out. Flash comes down, but there's another slow flash forward for his way on. Gets out of the Mega Inferno Bomb and gets the solo kill to boot as well. And now the floodgates have opened for picks galore. Tangyuan going to have to try and push away from Tien as Between Worlds does come down. That's right on top of Creme, but he uses the Between Worlds to dash all around Tangyuan, and once again has to perfectly execute himself out of the fight as Dragon re-enters the Rift.
Slayer, I'm scared of this Olaf. I'm really, really scared of this Olaf. There is no point in the game where Yorick can ever beat him in a side lane, which is the scariest thing you can feel as a Yorick player. But even more so than that, pulling attention and resources like the Ziggs ult onto the top side is even more ammunition in favor of TES just having full control of the map. Shaoye going to be a bit of a target here.
He has flash, and he's going to have to use it. As Tien was threatening a 3 challenge strike knockup once again. Keep in mind, you know, TES have found a lot of these pick plays. They've gotten themselves up to 10 kills, and I've yet to see JiaQi left hit an Ash Arrow. Just saying.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to hit one. I can pretty much assure you that at some point in the game, he is going to hit an Ash Arrow. I'd be shocked if he didn't, and when it hits, it could be a very big problem for LGD. don't think this game is completely out of, you know, I guess vision for them yet. I really think that they have plenty of ways to be able to continue to play this, but it gets harder and harder when you continue to play as if you're in a spot where you can be greedy and be aggressive. The most important member of this team is one that we saw just play really well and escape in that past exchange, Tangyuan in the mid lane here on the Akali. If he can find avenues to get onto some of these backline members, we've already seen the J Shock Blast get Seraphine really low. If Akali can execute the Seraphine or the Ashe and make these fights a little bit more lopsided, that could be massive as a turning point for LGD, and Tangyuan is certainly no stranger to carrying games for them.
Needs to step up and find these big picks on the Akali. It has been a lot of playing back, playing safe. Rarely has that perfect execution gone forward. And you mentioned it, how Tangyuan has really leaned into some of these assassins to be, you know, for some of our other broadcast members, voted him as the all-Nirvana mid laner. It has been dormant with these assassins so far in the series and so far in this game. Let's see if he can have that high impact as we garner up towards our next team fight. TS trying to push into the bot side of the map of LGD space. Nothing really defined there. Their Infernal Soul Drake is still about 3 minutes out. It seems right now like top esports don't necessarily feel comfortable trying to play towards the Baron. It's another game to me, Kman, where it feels like they're just trying to wait out that timer to play for a soul.
I mean, why wouldn't you? There's no reason to take massive risks here, and once again, you feel comfortable trying to play these front-to-back fights. You're looking at a comp for LGD for the 3rd game in a row that doesn't really feel all that good about just playing standard and neutral. They want to try and get these picks. Heng continuing to look on Fengyue. That has been a very, very stable way for Heng to get pressure throughout the map, is being able to chunk out this Seraphine and punish her overextensions. If they're not going to be able to get that, it's going to be a lot harder for them to set up around these objectives. And again, if you're trying to play front to back against an Olaf that can't be shut down by anyone like this Skarner or this Yorick on the enemy team, it starts to get scary.
Another Ashe Arrow not going to find its mark. JiaQi still hunting in fog to see if he can catch Shaoye. At level 2 ult, that will be back up well in time for the Dragon, and shortly soon, even before that. Still waiting on that first Ashe Arrow to hit here from JiaQi, who's just quietly been scaling up. Does have 3 items done on this Ashe, and while we have a little bit weird conversation to me about Caitlyn and her scalability as a champion in some people's perceived minds, I do think it's warranted to bring up the fact that Ashe does quietly scale up very well, and in a game with pretty low range outside of Ziggs, I mean, even Heng's going to have to go into that hammer stance. The value of a scaled up Ashe is going to become significant later on.
Well, especially because Heng has to go into the hammer stance, right? Like, to get through the Xin Zhao ultimate, you have to be melee as the Jace. You have to be able to, you know, invest yourself into that. So it's really important for this Ashe to be positioned well. JiaQi has been clutch and crucial for this team throughout this series. Up until this point, he's one of the greatest playoff performers in LPL history. You can't let him free fire. We keep talking about Zweion's lead on the Olaf, and while I think compositionally he's a bigger problem, JiaQi's got that same exact lead on the bottom side here.
Yep.
As we continue to get more and more gold into the pockets of these side lane carries. TES are very much still in a good spot. They just have to make sure that they don't screw it up, right? This is still a comp you have to execute on. This is definitely the closest game we've had so far of the 3.
Like that, though, they take that top lane tier 1, make sure Zweion has comfortable coverage to do so. He does have access to that top lane quest teleport, so he can still hang out over there, while the rest of TES redeploy on the bot side. The timer has run low for TES. Their dormant period in this game is over. They are looking to get Infernal Soul, a soul that very well could win them the series here.
Infernal Soul here would completely change the inflection. Arrow goes wide. That's probably going to disengage a lot of the tools here for TES. Both of these comps do kind of want the enemy to walk into them. See if anyone makes a mistake.
Well, there's a big chunk there from Creme out of the Aurora. Hung down about half HP as the bottom lane's jockey for wave priority. Both waves are going to dissipate, but TES have the inside track. Again, look at the vision surrounding this pit. Just now, a ward comes down from LGD into the pit, but it's CN that's going to start up this dragon. LGD, this is your last gasp in this series. It's a good Inferno Bomb onto Fengyue. He's poked down. Tangyuan is chomping at the bit to go after this Seraphine, but LGD are getting pulled away from this Dragon. Tien's kind of just handling on his own. Tangyuan's gonna go over the wall, execute Fengyue, find that first kill, but it's Infernal Soul over to top Esports. They don't feel like they need to fight anymore. Tien needs the Crescent Guard flash on out as Creme blows up YCX. Fengyue again perfectly executes back to safety, and Creme, JiaQi Love can do the heavy lifting as Wayon runs down Tangyuan with the Ragnarok Rage. There's top Esports breaking open game 3.
It's a knife's edge that the entire fight is played on. Tangyuan looks like he's gonna be able to take things over after executing the support, but there's just not enough from the rest of the squad. Infernal Soul goes over to top Esports. They're gonna start up on the Baron now as well. Creme has been massive, and he's looking for Shaoye here as well.
Oh, daring Shaoye to walk anywhere near this Baron. Instead, Heng is going to come on out here and start clearing out some of that vision, but the Baron is gone. It's the same rinse and repeat recipe here. TES get the soul into the Baron, and now, oh, I thought that was the arrow that was going to land. It's a flash for flash trade from Shaoye and Creme instead. Tien is in a bit of a predicament as well. He's dead. Picked off. Maybe trying to recall in the Baron pit by himself, and he'll drop. So that's one Baron off the board.
Well, I mean, it's something. I mean, the gold lead's basically exactly what it was before that fight happened in favor of top Esports, but I think the game state has changed a little bit, mostly that 1.5K gold lead on Zweon. He's looking to chase down YCX here, but I believe the fighting is actually going to be over at this point, thankfully. Hopefully we get a replay of that fight, as if on command, here we go. Infernal Soul is so important towards top Esports, so the way that they set up around this is really important because you need to keep the Akali off your primary backline. It's really well done from this poke comp to get Fengyue down low, but it's only Fengyue, and once again, Tien has so many tools to be able to make this poke comp more difficult to execute on. Once Tangyuan goes in and assassinates the Seraphine, what you see is a split. Part of LGD goes, okay, well, we need to go onto Tien even though the Dragon's gone because he's separated, but Heng's too low. YCX, the only primary form of engage, is completely on the other end of that with Tangyuan, your main damage dealer, and it just separates everybody by that point. Burdol has no damage, Heng has no HP, and your AD carry certainly isn't going to be able to take over on Ziggs. It's just bad teamfight coordination, top Esports understanding the space a little bit better and being able to win the fight because of it.
I get that Tangyuan had the good flank look, but it feels really bad to commit even Heng's attention onto making that assassination work when you're just giving up the Infernal Soul. Tien really utilized the chaos of the backside of that play to get what really will likely be the winning mark here for top Esports with that Infernal Soul. Now with the Baron, they're able to start knocking down structures like they're made of paper mache. Top lane tier 2 goes down. Creme gets a huge burst onto Shaoye. Should be the mid tier 2 to follow suit after that as the assault continues from top Esports on their Baron power play.
Yeah, they are attempting to crack this base open. I think they will. Arrow hits.
Oh, arrow hits there. YCX does get out of the beat drop here as Heng goes all in after Tien, but he has the Crescent Guard up. Re-engages. When becomes lightning, finds the kills. Tangyuan looks for the trade, but there's Wayon in the fray of the LGD backline. Finds Burdol, and boom goes the dynamite from Creme as he blows up another LGD member. Between Worlds into the Weirding is enough, and the hail of arrows from JiaQi Love puts a cherry on top. A dominating series from top Esports. They came into the playoffs a little bit off form from the regular split, but they have dismantled the Humpstart LGD TES sweep to move on in our playoffs.
Top Esports look incredible in round number 1. You want a headline, that's your headline, is just how good this team was in round 1. Their drafts, their gameplay, their vision control, their team fighting, all of it was so immensely strong. And that's exactly what we want to see out of this team. We know that they have the potential and the capability to be the best in the entire league, or bare minimum one of the top 2, to get to MSI and to represent this region. We saw the version of the team that can do that here today against LGD.
Very impressive. You know, we talked a lot about how JiaQi Love and Tien really show up for playoffs, and despite the fact we felt a little iffy about how TES finished the regular split, all of those, you know, sort of worries, you know, anxiety around that sort of topic has been, you know, flushed out of the memory. Even if, and I know a lot of people are going to look at this series and be like, probably see just the box score and be like, yeah, of course top Esports swept LGD. Again, want to emphasize that this is an LGD team that was revitalized with confidence, getting into Group Ascent, getting into the playoffs, knocking down Weibo. They should not just be written off as they get swept. I think top Esports really approached this series with a lot of respect towards their opponents, and that's what really is the reason why this was a 3-0 sweep. Respecting LGD for what they did to get here, but recognizing that they were also the much better team.
I mean, absolutely. It's that combination of respect and confidence that I think makes teams so scary, right? It's what BLG has done all year long. They basically said, we know that other teams have game plans that they want to do. We're going to respect that they're good at the things they want to do. So what we're going to do is either counter that or we're going to force them off of it because we respect that they can do it. And we know that we can execute on our second best comp better than you can on your second best comp. That's something Top Esports has very clearly shown the ability to do here. We don't need to make sure that we get everything that's perfect. You want to ban Lee Sin, you want to ban like all these other champions, go ahead. Like take away the comfort that we have. We're going to take away your comfort, and we know for a fact that we are better on, you know, what we have to go to with option B than your option B. And that was very clear in this series.
Yeah, LGD definitely tried to surprise Top Esports after that Game 1 win so awry. We saw a first-time Tangyuan Scion mid. We saw a first-time YCX support Skarner, even if it has been floating around some of the other leagues. It's really hard for me to justify going for those looks in a playoff series like this for LGD, even if maybe they've gotten some scrim reps on those champions. That's the only maybe logic I could see, is if they like really practiced, you know, going for these swaps, going for this out of the box kind of Skarner support pick. I just can't really see why, like, indexing that much into surprise was going to garner much result.
I mean, I talked about it in the game. I can bring it back up here. Skarner support is really interesting as a tech, and it's been talked about in scrim circles as like this. The idea of it is like a Pyke, right? Or it's like an Elise, where you want to get out on the map and be this fully ganking support that just creates a lot of action and chaos around the map. Basically, is just a full ganking jungler that you can utilize. There are great matchups for Skarner support, and then there's Ashe Seraphine, which is just not it. Like that is not one of the angles for Skarner support. Like, I think it's playable. I don't think it's playable here. And to me, the bigger problem with this draft for Skarner support is I actually think for 3 straight games, we have known the top laner that Zweon's gonna play, and then Burdol has counterpicked himself. Like, I think that, to me, was the biggest problem in these drafts, is they just consistently were bleeding advantages over to the other side. Burdol gets the Mbessa in game 1, having to play it into the Trundle. In game number 2, while he has a pretty okay matchup as the Vayne and gets flexed out onto the top side, you have no Engage to play the Vayne off of because you have a Scion mid lane. And then in this game, you're playing Yorick into Olaf. Good luck, man. Like, GG's. Like, there's nothing you can do.
Yeah, and all that comes down to the fact that Top Esports really just indexed into simplicity in execution, and LGD tried to like ruin that with their own sort of own created chaos, and it just never really worked out. That's what really stands out the most for me, is that Top Esports really on point, but their drafts really made it easy for them every single game here.
I would go as far as to say that I don't think YCX played a single good support today. Like, from my evaluation, right? I think Rel is a weak champion. I think we saw the weaknesses of Rel in game number 1, where she has a very weak laning phase and allows other engagers to roam. You play the Elise in game 2, which is very situational, and the Skarner in game 3. Like, it's just so much cooking. Like it's just we are so beyond. We have too much food. Too much food. The platter's full, brother. Like, we can take a break. It didn't work out, and the rest of the team, I think, ended up suffering for it. Heng's macro this series was really poor. He was constantly in bad positions and constantly getting caught out. I just want to give credit where credit is due. Like, Tien was great. Fengyue got caught a couple of times in game 3. I'm willing to say that. You know who was the clear MVP of game 3? Creme. I mean, what an incredible Aurora game from Creme.
Yeah, and, you know, we didn't see a lot from Tangyuan consistently because Creme in the laning phase, especially in this game 3, I agree with you. I think Creme would be my player of the game, but across all of these games, it was Creme consistently up gold and kind of just jailing Tangyuan. He didn't really get to roam and affect the map on a lot of his staple picks that we felt like he was so successful in Nirvana. It's because Creme was really up to play in the laning phase and, of course, transitioned much better into the team fighting. Kind of goes back to the point that outside of Zweon getting picked off on some side lanes and Fengyue maybe out-positioning as an enchanter in this game 3 at points, outside of that, Top Esports, everybody was really on point coming into this series.
Everyone. No weak link. I mean, genuinely none. Like, this was a 5-man gap. This was a macro gap. This was a setup gap. This was a follow-through gap. Laning, team fighting. Like, I mean, really, this team looked great. Like, they looked great in this series. And if they're going to look like this, I get it. It's LGD. And again, people are going to write that off because LGD is a Group Nirvana team and the expectations are, you know, lower for them. We saw a team like JDG drop a game to Thunder Talk, be kind of pushed at the beginning of game 2 as well, be down almost 3,000 gold. These aren't scrub teams. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this isn't like this isn't like the biggest gap of all time. These are
No.
teams that understand what they need to do on the map. Top Esports did not give them an avenue to play any of their crazy comps in this one. And at the end of the day, if you're going to be able to do that against bad teams, you're probably going to be able to do the same thing against good teams as well.
And no matter what you say about, LGD, Thunder Talk, EDG, at the end of the split, they finished above
Yep.
IG. They're going to finish above Weibo. They earned that right. So, yeah, I really hope that I know I'm going to see it because there's always those people who are just like, well, yeah, of course they beat the Group Nirvana team in a 5-game series. Like, it's just that wasn't the scenario. That wasn't the vibe coming into a series like this. And again, you don't have to take it from my own mouth here. You could just see how Top Esports approached this team, how much they respected them, and then just tried to take everything on the map with no repercussions. That is Top Esports showing that they understood LGD weren't even just pushovers. So why do you think they were?
I mean, do you know how much patience they had in this series? This is the most patience I've seen from Top Esports all year long. Like, they have never respected an opponent more than LGD in this series. And for all of the people that, again, want to have that point of, oh, will they beat LGD? If they had done the same exact thing to Weibo Gaming, would you have said that? Would you have said it if they went up against Weibo in this series and 3-0'd them? Because LGD beat Weibo. And so if you would have said, oh, well, that's a massive win if they would have beaten Weibo, well, they just beat the team that beat Weibo. Like, this is such a great performance from Top Esports. They move on now to round 2. They're taking on JDG. Oh, my goodness, what a fun matchup that's going to be. I'm super stoked for that one.
Yeah, and I'm even excited to see LGD and Thunder Talk duel it out in a best-of-5 in that scenario. These are two teams that were neck and neck in the Group Nirvana standings on top of that, and they'll be playing for their playoff lives as well as we start to get a better and better picture on the playoff bracket to try and crown, of course, our Split 2 champion. But, Kman, as we wind down our first night of playoffs, I've got to shout out a couple champions of our LPL English broadcast here. That, of course, going out to our Elite Coffee supporters. So I would like to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much to Aaron, Soup, and Mong, our Elite Coffee supporters. Their pledge financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew who strive to give you an LPL English product every single day. Said a lot of words today, folks, but thank you very much to Aaron, Soup, and Mong. Really appreciate them. Appreciate all of you that have been here chatting, throwing your opinions out, voting on our community all pros, and just being a part of this fan-run broadcast. You are the fuel that runs the engine that is these broadcasts, and well, you're really getting to eat good here on this set of games as we are into our Split 2 playoffs. Kman, it'll be a bit before we're back on here, so any final words, my friend, before we set up for our next day of playoff action?
If you thought today was fun, oh my goodness. Tomorrow is going to be equally as fun. I would argue that the closest round 1 matchup is happening tomorrow, so I cannot wait to see how the rest of this first round ends up breaking down. We have a Group Ascend matchup, which is not something that you, of course, always get in terms of these earlier matchups. And then, of course, anyone's legend in EDG. I mean, AL, kind of similar to Top Esports, aren't in their best form coming into, the first round here, and EDG is probably the strongest team to come out of the play-ins, and so I'm very excited to see how tomorrow works out.
I am right there with you, K-Man. It's going to be an awesome one in that regard. I believe we'll have Yanni and Cubby on that first series, and then Grapes and all go round out the second one. So, star-studded cast to take you through that one. It's been a pleasure to bring you Slayman Rock, Slayman Cast, whatever one we're going with. Either are goated. Big shout out to our producer, Ice Fire Ride, behind the scenes that went through the entire day of series. My friend, enjoy the rest you're about to get here, folks. Wherever you are, rest up, enjoy the rest of your day, but be back here, same time as always, for more LPL playoffs action, thanks to LPL English. Until then, I bid you adieu. Take care.